What's up, YouTube? Coach Scott Yurgz here at Philadelphia Cricket Club. We are going to talk today about how you fix that dreaded flip. I see so many golfers try to hit that golf ball. They flip the club into impact. Their trail elbows bending backwards. The club hits the ground. We chunk it. We top it. We hit a lot of bad shots. But we're going to fix it today with something that you may have never heard of before, and we're going to call it lead arm adduction. Let's figure out how to make things better. Let's do it. So I've seen this common problem many times in the lesson tee. And what I see is I've got a player that comes in complaining that they're hitting the ball too high. All their clubs are going the same distance. And what really is happening is from a face-on view, the club is starting to lean backwards as it approaches the golf ball. That trail elbow is pointing backwards, it's kind of bending off the body. The right wrist is bending in the wrong direction. It's not bending backwards, it's bending in this direction. And we see the player flick the ball up into the air. Sometimes they can make it work, sometimes they can't. It makes for a long day of golf, and it makes golf really hard to practice. So one of the key things I've noticed is among those players, one thing that they do incorrectly is they sometimes have too much lead arm adduction. What is lead arm adduction? Well, what it is if I stood here pointed directly at my camera, I'm going to put this club across my shoulders here to help illustrate. My arm here has what would look like zero adduction, and that is how much that lead arm moves across my shoulders. So generally speaking, if I did this little stretch I used to do as a kid when I played baseball, I'd stretch my lead arm across my shoulders. That would be the most amount of adduction I could possibly have. The least would be out here. I could even go in the opposite direction, but we're not going to talk about that today. So what is happening when they have too much lead arm adduction? So from a down the line camera angle, what happens is many players will try to swing into out because they're coming across the golf ball. So what they do is from this camera angle, they will try to add depth. Depth is a good thing, right? So what happens is we get depth, but we do it by pulling the arms way too far in and across our body. Believe it or not, most tour players only adduct their arms a small amount, maybe 15, 20 degrees. Most amateur players that we see that have this look and this flip to them, they adduct it twice as much. That's a problem because what happens in the downswing is that lead arm is so far behind them, and it's also adducting even more as it comes into the golf ball. This is the root cause of the problem. So depth really isn't the issue. Depth is generally there for most of those players. It's how much depth. Is it too much depth? And if I have too much depth, which creates too much adduction, how am I going to get rid of that in time to hit the golf ball well? Most of the time, you're not going to. So here's the trick that you're going to use to fix this. You're going to find yourself a balloon, a ball, something a little bit larger, not necessarily like the Tour Striker Smart Ball, but maybe something a little bit bigger than that, something that looks about this size here. And it's a little smaller than the size of the grip. I'm going to have you take that. I'm going to stick it right into your sternum right here. And I want you to get your arms, specifically say your biceps or your elbows, feel like they're squishing it up against your sternum. And from here, I want you to pretend to make some backswings. What you're going to feel is you're going to be able to create some adduction. You're going to be able to squeeze that ball a little bit, but the ball's going to prevent you from adducting that lead arm too far across your shoulders. That's the main objective of this drill. So first, put that ball up here right into your chest and make some practice backswings. What you're going to notice is you're going to still have depth. You're going to turn. The turn will create the depth. I don't need the adduction to create all the depth for you. That would be just an easy way to cheat it. So again, ball in between my elbows and my chest here. I take the club back. I'm squeezing that ball, but I'm trying to keep it up against my chest. I'm going to create as much depth as I can by turning. And from here, because I am not so adducted or behind myself with my arms will stay out in front of me for longer. What that's going to do is as you hit this golf ball, because your arms are out in front of you, you're going to be able to retain some of that trail wrist bend. You're going to be able to retain a little bit of that trail elbow bend. That trail elbow is not going to have to work backwards. So after you work through that ball, put it back in there, grab your golf club, and try to make a couple practice swings with the ball in your sternum. It's hard. It's not meant to be easy. Your job is to practice what it's like to get the lead arm to not pull in so closely to your body. If you're feeling froggy, go ahead and set up, get that ball in there, and maybe try to hit a couple golf balls like that. It's really difficult. That wasn't so bad. I would say if you can work on that and practice that, you're going to be a much, much better player, especially if you're a dumper and a flipper. Just for fun, I'm going to try to dump and flip one here, and I'm going to squeeze that ball in there. Let's see if I can dump and flip it. It's borderline impossible. I almost swung and missed that golf ball. But because my arms are more in front of me and not behind me, I'm not going to be able to flip it as much. So if you are a flipper, it's not always about trying to retain this lag to try to get the shaft to lean a little bit forward. Sometimes it's more about how much adduction you have in that lead arm in relation to your body so you don't get stuck back here. This is a bad place to try and play golf from. Hopefully that drill helps. Like, subscribe, check out my other videos, but more importantly, practice this and let me know how it goes in the comment section. Thank you.